Last night, Monday Night Raw was completely garbage. There was nothing of importance. I can't even remember anything that had significance leading into the next show. Right? I guess the main story around last episode was Austin Theory joining the Vision. And it's pretty obvious that he's probably going to be a double agent for Seth Rollins. And the main event was why would we want a main event of Brunson Reed and Austin Theory against Rey Mysterio and CM Punk in a tag match? And I know these shows are all pre-recorded, but if I was running the business, if I was head of creative, I would make sure these shows are worth watching. I would make sure these shows are still important to a storyline. But no, we just get house shows basically. We get no storylines. We just get matches. Right, and let's just dive into the first match that we had, which was Rhea Ripley versus Asuka. Why are they fighting? I really don't know. They have beef because of the Io Sky thing. They're still beefing over Io Sky, which has been almost a year now at this point. Asuka gets the win from a fruit roll-up. And let's be honest, Rhea Ripley has not been as popular as she's been when she was in the Judgment Day, or when they were actually giving her real storylines. Rhea Ripley's storyline is just, I love Io Sky. I want to protect her. Even though Io Sky is a former world champion, if she's her own woman, she can protect herself. But no, Rhea Ripley has to protect her. And this is a story that has been told for basically a year. We're still waiting for the payoff. I don't know when the payoff is going to happen. Are we waiting till WrestleMania for this? Like, is this really a WrestleMania match? The Kabuki Warriors versus Io Sky and Rhea? No one wants to see that. Same thing with Damian Priest, though. Like, since he left the Judgment Day, he's been feuding with one person for a year. Aleister Black. Right? These are writing issues. Right? These characters should not be stuck in a story for almost a year. It just doesn't make sense. Right? We've had we've had 5 matches at least for Rhea Ripley and the Kabuki Warriors. Same with Damian Priest and Aleister Black. Like, we've had 5 matches already. Can we please move on? But no, we're just going to get the same thing every single week. Now, I want to quickly talk about Javon Evans. I love Javon Evans. I think he's going to be a future champion, future world champion. He has a lot of potential, and he's already one of the top guys in the ring. However, he still needs to learn his character. He still needs to be better on the mic. And, I wouldn't want to call him up now because there's still so much room for him to grow. And he could be so good. And he's already great, but he can be so much better. And, him being this happy-go-lucky character that they're showing now, I think it's hard for people to take that serious, especially as a world champion contender. I would say you give him at least one more year in NXT, let him build his character, let him be a champion, let him turn heel, let him go through these things where after he finishes these things in NXT, he can go to the main roster and have these accomplishments and have the experience of being heel and babyface and being taken more serious. Because if he just joins the main roster without being any type of champion, it's hard to have, you don't have that experience. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's my opinion on Javon Evans. But I also want to, say that the exposure that he's getting, it's a good thing, right? The fans are going to be introduced to Javon Evans, but this means that he's going to be called up soon, right? I don't see the point of giving him this exposure and then waiting a year to call him up, right? They did reference him as a free agent, a future free agent. So I'm pretty sure they're going to call him up pretty soon. Now, the exposure that he's getting, I would think maybe a Trick Williams would have gotten this, right? A guy who's good on the mic, a guy who could easily cut a promo, and it would be entertaining, right? At this point, Javon Evans, in my opinion, can't really cut a hard promo where it's like, it's entertaining, but it's also serious and believable. Trick Williams can do that, right? Trick Williams isn't as good in the ring, but I think it would have been cool to introduce a Trick Williams, especially his character. But that's not what they did. They did it the Javon Evans way. So we'll see what they do with Javon and Trick Williams. I've also heard Trick Williams will be getting called up pretty soon. I'm not sure if it's going to be the next SmackDown or the SmackDown after that, but I'm excited to see Trick Williams because Trick Williams is, like I said, a very entertaining talker. Right? He's similar to, I'm not saying he's as good as The Rock, but he kind of has that Hollywood Rock feel to him, especially heel Trick Williams. And hopefully he's still heel. I think Trick Williams is just so much better as a heel than a babyface. But he was really over as a babyface as well. So this is exciting, right? We're getting new characters, and especially SmackDown. SmackDown needs all the help it can get. Now back to the show. We had Javon Evans fighting Rayo Americano. Javon Evans wins. Now, like I said, there was no real story to this match. They just, had a random match. I'll talk about Bayley and Roxanne Perez. Bayley ended up winning this match. Bayley needed a win. She lost to Solruka at Saturday Live event. So she needed a win here. She beat Roxanne Perez. Clean, so whatever. We then had Austin Theory, Bronson Reed. They had a little talk in the back room. Bronson Reed said, you're a new kid. Follow me. Austin Theory said, I'm not your kid. And how about you follow me? Very generic stuff there, right? Not great writing there. We then have Gunther, who walked out, getting booed. Basically says the same thing he said last week. I made John Cena top like a bee. It's very this is elementary writing, guys. Like Gunther hasn't said. I don't think Gunther has said anything of substance since he tapped out John Cena. All he said is I made John Cena tap out. That's really it. But the fans are booing him more, so kudos to the fans for giving him the heat that he really needs at this point. CM Punk comes out to confront Gunther. He runs down and they just stare at each other. Gunther walks out and smiles. And then Gunther's walking in the back rooms and he sees AJ Styles, and AJ Styles confronts him and Gunther just smiles. I guess that's his new thing. He's just going to smile. So that's cool, I guess. But this further, kind of builds the feud with Gunther and AJ Styles. Also, I think maybe in the future we're going to have CM Punk versus Gunther, which, do people want to see that? Maybe. People want to see Gunther as world champion? Probably not at this point. I mean, we've already seen him as world champion. Wasn't that entertaining? He had, that feud with Jey Uso, which was also a very big letdown. And I wouldn't even put that on Gunther. That's more of Triple H's writing and Jey Uso just not being good at all. That was when he was botching like 3 times a week. It was horrible. But yeah, this leads to the main event, which was a very horrible main event. I mean, a tag team with Austin Theory and Bronson Reed against an older Rey Mysterio and older CM Punk. Now, Austin Theory ended up getting the pin, so Bronson Reed and Austin Theory won the match. And of course, after the match was done, there's a little bit of fighting, and Braun Breaker spears CM Punk to end the show. The same ending we've been getting on Raw for the past month, basically. Right on SmackDown every week, it's a DQ. It's a disqualification. On Monday, it's always Braun Breaker spearing CM Punk. Those are the differences between the two shows. Now, what can you take away from last night's Monday Night Raw? Not much. Not much. We're going to have Jey Uso, not Jey Uso, the Usos face the champions of AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, which, hopefully AJ Styles and Dragon Lee win, because if they just give the Usos just the championship, Jey Uso joins the tag team division and they're just like, oh, Jey, you can just have the champions right away. Like, come on. That's probably what's going to happen. Most likely the Usos are going to win. So, get prepared, guys. Now, if you guys enjoy this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.